Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. All right, so if I were a one-watch guy, well, before I start, let me just talk about a few aspects of that video. Link in the description if you don't know what I'm talking about. The one-watch guy. Well, let's talk about Jack Nicklaus first. It was pointed out, and I thought the same thing, he was never a watch guy. He got the Rolex for free and kept it for 50 years. And it's interesting that, he never decided to invest in another piece. It just kept on with that piece. And yeah, so I don't think he was ever a watch guy. And it's interesting, I wonder if even those little things like the reference number of that date. Of course, I don't think you could ask him that, it would put him on the spot, but a non-watch guy who had a great watch for 50 years. It's kind of interesting. Never was tempted to, pick up a steel piece. Never tempted to pick up something else, anything else. I wonder what he did before the date. I wonder. So anyway, and he got it for free. That's interesting. Here in Japan, for going to a cocktail party, I'd go to a Rolex cocktail party for free, and if they tried to give me a watch to boot, wow, that'd be something. So anyway, great story, and I wonder, it appears that he might be selling it for charity, so I wonder what he's going to do, if he's going to get another Rolex. Rolex will probably hook him up with it if he does decide to go Rolex. So what would I do if I were to become a one-watch guy? Well, as you guys may know, that was the plan. That's what I got my sub for. And it just went to shit. A year later, I lost my way. I guess that's the best way to put it. I went from one watch guy to I need a backup piece to I got to get my Grail, which is the GMT. The GMT was only the Grail after the sub was purchased. Kind of funny how that works. The goalposts always move. Well, getting rid of a watch is a difficult proposition. I liken it to having 3 wives and having kids with all of them, and deciding one day you're into monogamy. Well, who do you tell to leave? You got to tell 2 of your wives to hit the road. What do you do? Well, I look at my 3 watches, the 2 black-dialed watches, perhaps as my 2 Asian wives, and the Explorer 2 with the white dial as something special, something different, the Russian wife. Well, I look at my sub, my no-date sub, and I love the simplicity. She is smaller, and she's streamlined, and she is aesthetically beautiful. Doesn't wear a lot of makeup, only 2 lines worth. I like a face with as little makeup as possible. I'm a minimalist, and she's the girl next door. The other 2 always wear 4 lines of makeup. I prefer 2. She's a little dumb though. Never knows the date, and when I ask her what time it is in New York, she goes, I don't know, but it's 5 o'clock here in Tokyo. Honey, that's not what I asked you. I need a little bit more intelligence from a woman. So, she was my first true, wonderful woman, so I don't know if I could actually leave her. And I don't know how she's going to age, her face will probably age, but her arms, I don't know, we might have to have plastic surgery and have her arms replaced, and then I've got a gracefully aging face with young-looking arms, and it's just weirdness. So But mainly it's her lack of knowledge that makes me think she probably couldn't be a one watch. I couldn't be a one watch woman. The Russian, well, she's usable. To quote a friend, Konstantin, that I had in college, we were talking about Russian women, and he said, Russian women, by the time they're 18, they're fucked to hell. Well, my Russian wife, she's the youngest of the bunch, but she's kind of beat up. She's been used, but she's still beautiful. She has that beautiful platinum blonde hair, near just white, and so different than the other two watches, the other two women. She's smart, she's clever, always knows the date. Not as flexible with telling me the time in, other places. She can usually remember one, but if I ask her what time it is in New York and what time it is in California and what time it is in Europe, she's a little not quite as on the ball as my third wife. I don't really baby her very much. She's a big girl, and she goes out drinking with me sometimes. Luckily, I've never gotten so drunk that she's gone home with somebody else. But I got to be careful, You always got to be careful when you take your wives out drinking because they might leave with another man. Take your mistress out. Take your $50 Russian mistress out. If she leaves with somebody, if you get so shit-faced that she leaves with somebody, it ain't the end of the world, right? Now, the third wife is, she's a looker, and, for a long time I thought she was, the kind of woman that could really be my one and only. Just like the Russian, she's got a big breast, one Cyclops-looking breast. And it's beautiful. I love looking at it and looking through it. But it does take away from her face, unlike my little diver of a wife. So, aesthetically, I don't think any of my big-breasted wives, compare to the sort of girl next door, pretty face, minimalist, version of that diver girl. But those breasts do scream Rolex quality, if you know what I mean. Well, Miss GMT, she always dresses in like a Pepsi outfit, blue and red, and it's quite noticeable across a train. You can always spot it. It's not so under the radar. Sometimes I wish she would change and just be a little bit more modest. Maybe put on black every now and then. I could get a black dress for her. I could. Maybe I should do that. In fact, I could also get a Jubilee dress for her. That would be kind of nice, although they're pretty expensive, over $1,000. But it's on my list. She's the most desirable. All the guys want her. I mean, no matter what I think, she's the one that all the guys would really want to take. And whenever a guy looks at your woman and really wants it, appreciates it, makes you think, maybe I got something special. Maybe I ought to hold on to her. So, to make a long story short, I would probably go with Miss GMT. She's smart, she's beautiful, she's very desirable. She's pretty virginal, to be honest. She's pretty virginal. And she comes with a house and a birth certificate, and that's kind of nice too. So yeah, I would go with the GMT. I love the functions. The lack of polishing, you guys probably guessed that. Did you guess that? Although I gotta say, I would miss the sub. Just the aesthetics of that. It's the pinnacle of horological aesthetics, in my opinion. I think the no date sub 14060 or a 14060M, I think that is hands down for me the most beautiful watch. But again, you got to have a conversation every now and then, and you can't have a dumb watch. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.